I started in college. A group of my friends and I were looking for some volunteer opportunities to give back to the community. We got connected with Tucson in the group and have been coming up to Project Reentry ever since. Originally born and raised in Detroit, been a lifelong Detroiter my entire life, and then eventually went to the University of Michigan where I studied business. That's where I got connected with Caught Up, and now I'm back in the city working with nonprofits and doing some volunteer work. Really just looking for ways to kind of connect with the city, especially young people in the city, and connect them with opportunity. With Project Reentry, I volunteer at our weekly program at 2 juvenile detention centers at Highland Park. So basically we work with 2 groups of young men who are preparing to be released from the detention centers. We work with them for 8 weeks at a time, really working them through some life skills that they can use and learn about before their release. So this could be like college application, applying to jobs when they're released, really just tangible skills that they may not have picked up in high school or they may not have picked up in other things that they were involved in, that they can really kind of put to work the minute that they're out and really start working towards whatever goals they may have. So I think for me, thinking back to my own childhood and youth, I really benefited from other people giving back, whether it was from like sports coaches, mentors, volunteers in the community for different programs that I was involved in. And so I think it's my duty as someone who benefited so much from those programs to give back now that I'm in a position where I can, volunteer my time, volunteer my resources, and volunteer my experience. I think it's only through giving back to others that you can help build the next generation of workers or students or whatever it might be that can positively impact a community. All of those people need the older generations to kind of give back and teach them the way and show them the way. Obviously, financial resources are always important. Just being able to provide them with whether it be rides to job interviews, or just like if they're filling out college applications, obviously that takes some support. But I think really it's just people's time. Like when these guys are released and are out back into the community, it's really powerful just for them to be able to sit down for an hour or so and talk with somebody about their hopes and their goals. So I think moving forward, a big thing that we need is just mentors and with some extra time that they can spend just talking and connecting with the young guys.
Well, I'm actually from Detroit on the east side. I grew up near the Chandler Park area, not too far from Warren and Connor, so I'm familiar with the east side. I went to Elmdale Conservatory for the Visual and Performing Arts over on Elmdale and Dickerson on the east side for a middle school, and then I went to Cass Tech for high school. After that, I went off to the University of Michigan where I studied political science, and it was there that I kind of had my first Project Reentry type course, which was called Project Outreach in Psychology, where we went and worked with adjudicated youth at the Starfish Family Services Center. And that's really what piqued my interest in juvenile justice reform and criminal justice in general. So really it wasn't until after I graduated college and got involved with an organization called New Leaders Council, which is a national progressive leadership training program. And as a fellow, we were all required to have a capstone project, which is really a social impact mission for your local community. And mine was all about criminal justice reform, and particularly going into the juvenile justice system to provide some type of services for adjudicated youth that are about to be released. And through research on programs that exist or may not exist and how to get involved in that, a lot of folks started telling me about Caught Up in Tucson in particular. So finally, one of our mutual connections set us up for a meeting, and the rest is history. We hit it off. I came out to a Project Reentry session and fell in love with it. And that was about in maybe January 2017, and I've been volunteering ever since. Well, I've recently gotten more involved with the program and kind of took on a leadership role trying to manage and coordinate the Project Reentry program itself. So a lot of that involves coming up with the schedule, working with the center to make sure that we have speakers on the right days, working with them to kind of source program participants that are about to be released to make sure we have enough folks ready to go when we're ready to get started. Working with the other volunteers to make sure that the materials are where they need to be, computers are charged, we have enough notebooks and things like that. So really just making sure that we're prepared on our end to make sure that we can provide the best experience for the program participants. One of the things that struck me the most was what I thought was going to be my inability to connect with them. Because I always start off in the beginning telling them that I haven't been incarcerated. I haven't really had much experience with the criminal justice system personally. I don't know folks who've gone through it like that, so I don't have that same level of understanding that they do about what's really going on. And I saw that initially as a barrier to being able to connect with them. And one of the things that struck me the most is that it's really the opposite. Because I talk about going to the University of Michigan, how that experience changed my life, and how just going through that process really opened my eyes about what's possible in the world. So it's really humbling for me when some of them come up to me after the fact and they're interested in doing the same thing. So just the fact that they can see somebody who looks like them, who comes from their same community, who shares some of their same experiences, although not all of them, and that connection alone gets them to realize that they too can do something like that. They can, dream to go to a major university and do great things, and not have to settle for what folks are telling them that they should be doing instead. So that alone really stood out to me. Another one were some of the guys who, because I talked about going to law school and being interested in law school, and since that time I've gone from it just being an interest of mine to actually pursuing it and being scheduled to attend. So walking through that journey with some of them has also been eye-opening and rewarding for me, because now you have some of them who are interested in criminal justice law or becoming police officers. So just seeing folks come back and say, your experience or what you told me has gotten me to really reevaluate what I want to do personally. And now they're actively pursuing those careers, and that's something that's extremely exciting for me. I do this because I love it. I do it because it's rewarding. I do it because, Sunday mornings when I come back from any session, I'm just always inspired by how enthusiastic and optimistic a lot of the guys are in there. And what's striking is that as a professional policy analyst, as somebody who goes to work every day worried about the future of the city, making sure that services are being run appropriately, but also that people have access to opportunities throughout the city, it's really inspiring for me to see that these young guys have the same desires and the same ambition as anybody else that I meet on a regular basis. They want the same things for the community. They want access to education. They want good jobs. They want thriving communities. They want success for themselves and their children. So just seeing that on a regular basis with them keeps me going professionally. So I say all the time, I get more out of going and volunteering than I ever thought I would have. So for me, I'm pleasantly surprised, because I don't feel like I'm really doing a lot. I feel like I'm getting more out of this program than I'm putting into it. So I'm happy to receive it, and I'm ready to just keep giving back as much as I can.